times just make you swear and curse. Not here. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, well, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. Oh, and always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life.
It's announcement time.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody online. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Toronto. My name is Tanis, also known as the Announcement Lady. Hey, lady. If you're with us for the first time, you have a program. In there is a list of announcements for you to peruse. I'll just hit a couple of things. There are also songs that we are doing today, not necessarily in the order that's there, but you'll know what we're singing once we start. Just a couple of things I want to say. Number one, Sonia Byrne is in town from Cairo. Woo! Sonia is one of our practitioner interns here, and we thought we'd surprise her with some lovely, balmy spring weather for her return. You're so welcome. And on the light side, it's sunny. The sunshine's beautiful. And let's go with that. Yeah. And on this bright, beautiful day, it is the 50th anniversary of the Canadian flag. Woo! And tax receipts have been emailed. So check your inbox. If you have not received your tax receipt, check your spam or your junk filter in case it's sitting in there. And if you don't have email, I think Carmen said 7 tax receipts were mailed. So they have been mailed. So jolly good, you can file your taxes. And on that note, I'm going to turn the floor over to Linda Visosky, who's going to talk about Shop Your Girlfriend's Closet.
Good morning, everyone. As you know, 2 weeks from today is Shop Your Girlfriend's Closets. These beautiful signs have been done by Judy Pressman, and they're out in the community that 2 weeks from today we have an outstanding, our semi-annual fundraiser. So we're counting on you to help us out. So you've each been given a small flyer. Please take this out into your community and share it with your friends. Spring is coming, it's just around the corner, and we really need your help. So please take one of the flyers and share it with your friends, go into your own closets, and we're also looking for volunteers for that day. So we're looking from 1 till 3. If you can come during the week, and I'll talk about that in a minute, and help us out on the day, we'd really appreciate it. It's a fun time. So this Sunday, we've already had items come. Where's Judy? Look at some of the little tidbits that have come. Ooh. A little Coach handbag, nonetheless, okay? Slightly worn. It's going to be very reasonably priced. A lovely pair of designer white jeans, never been worn. Somebody dropped that off. A lovely little trendy leopard top. Nice. And last but not least, a beautiful suit that has, from Melanie Lynn, that's never been worn. What? Little jacket, look at the back.
What size is
it?
What size is that?
do that. And then last but not least, a beautiful Coach bag, never worn, left by at the center. So please, 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 we appreciate your support. Starting, well, so we're collecting this Sunday, we're collecting next Sunday, and then starting next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 12 to 3, please drop off what you have to the center. There'll be volunteers here that are going to price, although we would really appreciate if you would price everything as you bring it. Reasonably priced. All proceeds go to our center. So please support us. We truly appreciate it. See Judy Southern, Judy Pressman, or myself if you've got any questions and you want to come and have a good time. Thank you. Yay.
Go ahead.
Next.
Yes.
You next? Oh, no. Okay. So without further ado, the lady we all love and respect and know so well, please welcome to the lectern, Helen Valleau.
I think this one's mine. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning to all of you online as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your warm energy into the center. And I don't know, for me, maybe for Tanis, this was kind of normal weather for us growing up in Edmonton and Winnipeg.
Yep.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Cars don't
That's
start.
why I don't live there anymore.
Yes, it is why we don't live there anymore. But, you know, so we are here this morning together to live an extraordinary life, to live out loud this year. That is our mission statement for the year. And so I've had fun over the last couple of weeks researching what it means to live out loud. And I have a couple of things here that I found on the internet about what it means to live out loud. Of course, I always go to the internet. It's so great. So it means that whatever is inside of you, in your inner self, that your ego so often shuts out and shuts away, you let it out. So that wise inner voice of love and light and brilliance, let it out loud. Let it shine. And there's a tiny Buddha website that has 30 ways to get started living out loud. Live your purpose. I'm not going to go through all 30. March to the beat of your own drum and stay on course. Stop waiting. Love generously. Be of service. Stop complaining. Own your own power. And sing out loud. So, on that note, we are going to sing out loud, and I'm going to invite you all to stand up and sing out loud, and we're going to sing All the Good.
Yes. I cannot do all the good that the world needs. But the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs. But the world needs all the good that I can do. We're going to take that double time. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do.
Now, just before I call up our practitioner, Judy Southern, to the lectern to give her words of wisdom, I would like to invite anybody who's here for the very first time, and I do see some new faces, to please raise your hand. And Jim is going to come around and give you a postcard. So if you just want to raise your hand and keep it raised for a moment. And this postcard describes what we're about, what we do here at the center, a little blurb about our Reverend Jonathan Zenz, who just got off a cruise ship today and is on his way to Vegas for a... Sounds like our minister has a really good time. Cruise ship, Vegas. Yeah, he was on holiday, and now he's headed to the Centers for Spiritual Living conference in Vegas, along with Lena and Sonia, who are headed there tonight. And on the back also, if you take this to the bookstore, you get 10% off any merchandise, any books that you would like to purchase. So, and welcome. Thank you for bringing your consciousness here with us today. And so, on that note, I would like to invite our lovely practitioner intern, Judy Southern, to the lectern to give us her words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you, Helen. Helen's going to tell you what our Declaration of Principles is today, so I won't put that into my 5 minutes. But in keeping with our declaration that we have today, I found a beautiful quote from Joel Goldsmith, the author who wrote Practicing the Presence that we all love. And a girlfriend told me about another one of his books called Man Was Not Born to Cry. And when I heard the name, I knew I had to get the book. It's on order. I should have it in a week. Here's the quote. I found a quote on the internet, the reliable internet, and I'd like to share it with you. The purpose of man is to show forth the nature of God. Man originally was intended to be the instrument through which, or as which, God lives on earth. Man is the great glory of God. Man was not meant to cry. And all his tears are shed only because of a sense of limitation. Every tear you shed is proof of some form of limitation being experienced in your life. Man was not born to cry. Now, I'm a crier. Having said that, I cry when something touches my heart. I cry tears of joy. And I know that Joel Goldsmith is referring to the anguish and the suffering that we're seeing around the world. We were not born for this kind of life that we are seeing in the news. And every spiritual teacher that I have heard or heard about says that every human is meant to live in joy, and that joy is our natural state. And we've been hearing this. People for eons have been saying this. Joy is our natural state. Ernest Holmes in the Wisdom Cards, the one that says realize, which I can't read up here, which says, the world is beginning to realize that it has learned all it should through suffering and pain. So it's time for us to move on. I would like to think that these ideas are all indications right now in this world today that suffering happening in our world today is shifting. And I really believe that is the truth, that it is shifting. It doesn't look like it, but I do believe it is shifting. On the surface, we see effects. But I know that there's something different going on. And more, we are learning to change the cause that produced the effects. And that's what Science of Mind teaches. Let's change the cause and produce beautiful effects, joyful effects. That's what our philosophy tells us. I believe peace is possible, even though it doesn't look that way. And we're all bombarded by news events that tell a different story. If that's what we're looking at, if we're only looking at the story, if we're only looking at the events, that's what we see. And I believe underneath all of that, a new life and a new world is developing. So on a personal level, and it really does begin with each of us, so when I'm feeling sad, and I have those moments, and when I'm feeling fearful about where life is going, and I have those moments still, and when I feel the pain of loss, and I have those moments too, I remind myself that my natural state is joy. I look on the bright side of life. I can't tell you the image I had when I heard that song from that movie. So irreverent and beautifully. I turn my attention to where I want my life to go and away from the effects of my life. and to all the good in my life. There really is so much good, and I know that's the truth. I know that's the truth for me. I know it's the truth for each and every one of us. So on the surface, there are lots of things in my life that don't look much like joy on the surface, and I'm aware of them. But I've learned to see the joy in all of it. I used to say to my son, when he used to say he didn't like his jobs in younger years, he didn't like the jobs, a couple of jobs that he had, and I used to say to him, and I know he got sick of me saying this, I said, if you don't have what you like, learn to like what you have. And I know that was just a mother. Mothers do that. Just learn to like what you have. So I have learned to see the joy in all of the effects of my life that don't really look like joy. And I know that everything is changing and that God is always creating through me and through each and every one of us, creating and expanding. So I've learned to let go. And that's a really big deal for someone like me. I have a girlfriend who used to say to me, Judy, you don't have to control everything in your life. But I love her for that. That's what friends are for. So I wasn't always able to let go, but time and circumstances in my life have allowed me to do so. And now it's become a way of life. And practitioner studies has trained me to think that way. So it does make a difference. So let's remember that we are all expressions of God's joy, God's love, God's light, God's life, and much more. Man was not born to cry in anguish and in suffering. Our purpose is to express the nature of God. That's who we are. So I have an affirmation for us that I would invite you to say with me after you hear it a couple of times. I choose to live in joy. I know in my heart I am an expression of divine joy. I choose to live in joy. I know in my heart I am an expression of divine joy. I choose to live in joy. I know in my heart I am an expression of divine joy. I see the divine joy in each and every one of you. Thank you.
If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today. And if I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song to make you feel this way. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. And if I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. And if I had a wish that I could wish for you, I'd make a wish or sunshine all the while.
Please join me in consciousness, in this stillness, in this light. And I know, here and now, that there is one divine presence, one love, one energy that operates throughout all of the universe and throughout our lives. And I know that we are one with this presence, this divine presence, this presence of God. And I know that this thing that we call God, this presence we call God, creates and expands through each and every one of us. We are one. We are one with God, and as God is, we are. And I affirm right here and right now the love and the joy that each of us is. The light that we shine so bright as the sun, that is who we are. We are meant to shine, to live in joy. That is the truth, the very truth of our being. We are expressions of the divine, expressions of divine joy. I know this is the truth of who we are. And in this truth, and in this knowledge, and in this knowing, I release these words in great gratitude, in deep gratitude for this beautiful community that we are, in deep gratitude for these teachings, for this philosophy, for this beautiful way of life. I let it go. I let it be so. I give it over to the mind of God. I let God be God, and together we say, and so it is.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost all the time makes me high. Sunshine almost always.
Thank you, Judy. I think it just got a whole lot brighter in here. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Judy, for your beautiful, beautiful words. I am going to move the lectern back now and give it over to our incredible Queen Street Band. Anything you want to say about this song, Pierre?
Crowded house. Something so strong. Here we go.
Great.
Love can make you weak, can make you run for cover. Roots that spread so deep, bring life to frozen ground. Something so strong could carry us away. Something so strong could carry us today. Turning in my sleep, love can leave you cold. Taste of jealousy, it's like a lust for gold. Something so strong could carry us away. Something so strong could carry I've seen you fall into the same trap. This thing is happening to us all. Something so strong could carry us away. Something so strong could carry us today. Something so strong. Something so strong. Something so strong. Something so strong.
Thanks, guys. You're awesome. Shucks. Oh. So, we come here to, yes, create an extraordinary life. We're spending this year living out loud, giving voice to our authentic self. And, you know, we also come here because we recognize and we know and we honor that within each one of us is this divine light, this beautiful, beautiful light, this spirit that is omniscient, omnipresent, omniactive, always, always gently nudging us to create more, to live more, to experience more in life. And that light is what we call God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And it is so great that we can come together and recognize this truth. I was at my hairdresser's, and a few of us in this room have the same hairdresser. I'm not naming names. And we get into lots of really interesting conversations over the course. Sometimes it takes like 2 hours. I'm like, okay, 2 hours, but we have these great conversations. And one time we were talking about spirituality and touched on the subject of God, and he said, I don't believe God exists. And I was like, oh, ooh, well, that's a little sticky for me because I do, and that's what I talk about, that's what I teach. And so I asked him, well, why don't you believe in God? And he said, well, all you have to do is go out onto Queen Street and look at the people that are hungry, the people that are suffering, the people that are begging. And he says, you know what? If there really was a God, those people would not be suffering. And so I didn't really want to get into too much of a conversation, so I didn't, and I didn't want to get into an argument about God. So after he finished my hair and I left the salon, there was someone on the street, and he had long hair and a long beard, and he looked pretty unkempt. So I turned back, I went into the salon, and I said, you know what? I don't think hairdressers exist. And he's like, what makes you say that? I just worked on your hair. Look how fabulous it looks. I said, no, hairdressers don't exist because if they did, there would not be people out on the street with long, unkept hair and long beards, just like that person outside. And he says, oh, well, those people don't come to me. I said, yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the point. God does exist. What happens is people don't go looking for God. They don't go looking for it. And that's why there's so much pain and suffering in the world, because we're not open. We're not open and looking. And so what is God? in my ministerial class over the last couple of weeks, we got into pods and we had to come up with a description of God, and God couldn't be a noun, and we had to explain God as how we would explain it to somebody who has no idea of what God is. And then we gave our descriptions, and then our assignment for last week was we each individually had to come up with our own description of what God is. So this is what I came up with. God is the one eternal, benevolent, and intelligent substance of pure love, from which all life is created. God is neither spirit nor matter. God is the spark of all creation, back of all the infinite possibilities. And God is revealed to us through an infinite variety of forms and experiences of our own choosing. Of our own choosing, because we have free will choice, and we get to choose how we experience God. So, our core concept, our core concept this week is we believe the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is to be attained by all. Okay, so that's a bit of a mouthful, and I'm going to say it again, and then we'll talk about what that really means. And this comes from Ernest Holmes. For those of you who don't know, he came up with 15 core concepts that explain our teachings. We believe the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is to be attained by all. So, emancipation is when we are liberated. We are liberated from all strife, all conflict, all lack of harmony within ourselves and between people and ideas and experiences that we have. So when we are liberated from all strife and conflict and all lack of harmony within ourselves, so the goal is to experience harmony and love and the grace of God in each moment of life. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I don't know. Maybe at some points, yes, and other points, no. Stuff shows up and, wow, can really, really test those moments of harmony and shake them up a little bit. So, can we place our faith, though, in that infinite spark of creation, back of all the possibilities of life, and begin to consciously choose love, consciously choose harmony, consciously choose peace, and choose joy for ourselves? Can we do this? Yeah, we can. The rubber hits the road is when we really take the action to consistently do this over and over and over again. The title of my talk today is Thoughts, Beliefs, Faith. We all have a bazillion thoughts every day that go through our mind. And not all of them are creating discord. They're not all destructive thoughts. There's a lot of really good constructive thoughts that we have as well. It's the habitual thought patterns, though, that we feed our mind that create this vibrational feeling state, which is either positive or negative, that becomes part of our character. And that belief is formed as to who we are and how we relate to others in our life. So it is the beliefs that have that energy and that feeling attached to it that sit in our subconscious mind, and we keep recreating them over and over and proving to ourselves again and again and again, oh, this is just the way life is. Oh, this is just the way I am. How many of you know people have said, oh yeah, that's just the way I am? And they're creating a lot of discord in their life. We were not born that way. We were born as pure love, pure divine love, pure potential, and nothing less than that. Our character, our habits, our beliefs, they were formed on an unconscious level long before we became adults. They were formed from time of conception right up until we became young adults, and often at a pre-verbal level. It's all of what we experience and how we perceive it and take it in and shape it within us that creates our own beliefs that we are either aware of, that we're conscious of, or we are unaware of, unconscious of. And the idea is to get clear and bring up to consciousness the ones that aren't serving us so that we can change. Because as adults, we continue to reinforce all those false beliefs that somehow we're defective, somehow we're not talented enough, we're not creative enough, we're not prosperous enough, we're less fortunate than others. And yet we can change those habitual beliefs. We can change them. We have to quit feeding our bad habits. We need to starve them out and start nourishing healthy ones. Start nourishing constructive, healthy habits. Have you ever noticed that bad habits are really easy to form? They're really easy to form. And yet they're difficult to live with every day. It's like, it was so easy to do that, but it's so difficult to live with every day in and day out. What they do is they start to chip away and erode the quality of our life. And so we have to make the decision to liberate ourselves from our own bad habits. Bad, destructive, whatever you want to call it. So whatever's not supporting you in loving yourself. Because nothing foretells the future like the thoughts over which we brood. You want to know what your future's going to be like? What are you brooding on today that's dragging you down and lowering your vibrational energy? Bad habits form a structure that is emotionally familiar to us. As kids, what do we need? We need love in order to survive, yes, but we also need structure. That's what they say. Kids need structure. What we do through our experiences, everything that we experience, we unconsciously create a structure in which we know how to operate. Now, some of it's positive and some of it's negative, but we know it. It's emotionally familiar. And we take that structure with us and we grow up and we bring that structure with us into our adult life. And then we wonder, how come things aren't working so well? Because we have got this unhealthy structure that's operating unconsciously for us. It's all those negative thoughts in our mind. You know, Carmen did the puppets thing. Yeah, all those negative thoughts. That's a structure. We know it. We know it, and we know how to operate within us. We know it. And so, therefore, we keep going back to it because we know how to operate within it. And the thing is we have to be willing to step out of the old structure and create a new, healthy, loving, constructive structure from our spiritual practices. And that's the brilliance of our spiritual practice. That's the brilliance of coming back to the affirmations, the meditation, the contemplation, prayer work, is that we start to create a new healthy structure that has a higher vibrational level that will annihilate that old structure. But we have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, because all fears of sickness and poverty and pain are impressions and ideas and mental pictures long before they become our painful realities. We already have that cause, that idea of it in our minds, long before it shows up in form. And every idea, every mental picture must produce a corresponding effect. Every idea and mental picture that we hold about ourselves must produce a corresponding effect, whether it's a healthy one or a destructive one. because whatever we place into that law determines it's so in our life. And the law does not question, the law does not challenge what kind of picture we give to it. It doesn't question it at all. The law, it's a cold fact. It's an impersonal doer. It's an immutable force of creation, and whatever we put into that law, whatever that cause is, it must show up in our reality. And so we have created consciously and unconsciously a lot of mental pictures, which is this structure of like how we just think life is and how we are in life. And we just go along and we say, oh yeah, well that's just the way it is and there's nothing I can do about it, and oh well. Until we stop and say, wait a minute here. This is not the truth. And this is what's so great about this teaching, because it teaches truth with a capital T. Truth that we are love. Truth that we are infinite possibilities. Truth that we are divine beings, and we, each one of us, have the right to live this abundant, loving, creative, expressive life. And that we are constantly evolving. We're constantly changing. That is who we are. I remember once my mom's twin sister, my mom were very, very different. But my mom's twin sister said to me, this was after my mom had passed away when I was in my early 20s, and she said, "You're so much like your father." Well, that was kind of not a good thing in the first place, but she said, You're never satisfied. You always want more. You're never happy with what you're doing. You just want to keep doing more and more and more. Why can't you just settle down and be happy?" And I thought, oh my God, that's a bad thing. I felt so ashamed. Like there was something really wrong with me for wanting more. And when I came to these teachings and I got, hey, wait a minute, no, I'm supposed to want more and more and more and more, and that's okay. It's okay. It's like, she had it wrong. That was more about her than me. I think she was, you know what? I think she was kind of not so happy with her life. So, for us to say yes to living more and more and more in love and freedom and creativity and abundance and prosperity and vitality and health. But you know what? There's an addictive drive to go back to the old structure, back to the old way of being. And Gabor Mate, if any of you know who he is such a brilliant man. He's an MD and a psychologist, and his first book was The Body Never Lies. And it's all about the mind-body connection. And he's gone on to write about ADHD in kids. And now he's doing a lot of work with addictions. And he has a brilliant, brilliant TED Talk on addictions. And then I was just listening to an interview with him. And he said, this was for any addiction, and that to go back to that old structure, there is that addictive drive to keep beating ourselves up, to living in ways that we self-sabotage ourselves and hurt ourselves, because it is emotionally familiar. And he says, you know what? We go back to the addiction because it almost works. It almost works. It's this illusion that it gives us this temporary relief. And it's like, oh, okay, I know how to operate within this structure. I know how to sabotage myself. I used to know how to sabotage myself really, really well. And I knew how to do it over and over and over again. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, but then, I don't have to show up. Then I don't have to, be more and let my light shine. I can go away and I can hide, and then I could, eat a few pints of ice cream and watch a little more TV and go into this whole addictive cycle of self-sabotage. And even though it felt really crappy, it did give that moment of relief. And that's what happens. It's such an illusion that moment of relief from whatever fear that we are so worried about, it's like, I don't have to go there. And I don't have to step out into the unknown. And that's the big thing, is when we give up that old structure and we start creating something new, we don't know yet how it all works. And that's scary. That can be really, really scary. And that's where we have to be so clear about where we are placing our faith. Are we going to place our faith in the old lies, in the old ways of being, that old structure that just brings more and more pain? Or are we going to place our faith in truth, in the absolute truth that there's only one power, one presence of good? And I expect and command that it works for me, not next week, maybe next month, now. We can command that it works for us now. We don't have to wait. What we have to do, though, is the work to get there. And that is the prayer, the meditation, the contemplation, and the willingness to say no to the old. Because if we don't have that willingness to say no, then we settle for it, and then of course we always get less than what we settled for. So this is how we emancipate ourselves from the pain and the suffering, and we step into something new, is by being willing to say yes to the truth of yourself, the truth of who you are, the truth of a bigger idea, even though you don't know what the outcome is. And that's the hardest thing. We never know what the outcome's going to be. But we can expect that the outcome is going to be something that is far more loving, far more beautiful, far more abundant and healthful and filled with vitality than what that old structure was. Ernest Holmes says, faith is a certain definite mental attitude. When Jesus said, "It is done unto you as you believe," he implied that a law, a force, an intelligent energy in the universe acts upon the images of our belief. Faith is an affirmative way of using this law, this energy, this force. And we must place our faith in that one divine power and presence of goodness, of light and love. And those who have great faith have great power. That's what the mystics have. We were talking about this in the Essential Ernest Holmes on Wednesday night about the mystics. And I was talking about James, and maybe somebody can help me remember his last name. James, who was here speaking a number of years ago, drove up on his motorcycle. James Golden. Beautiful, beautiful minister, beautiful man. And who's a mystic. He is truly a mystic because he only sees love and the goodness and will only accept that into his life, and he accepts nothing less. And he was talking about in his talk about how he had been at a conference and he was wearing this cape that he really, really loved, and he'd gotten into a car and people were giving him a ride back to the hotel, and this woman was sitting on his lap. They were all sort of crowded in, and this woman said, "I really like your cape." And he's like, "Thank you. I like it too." And then he heard this voice say, "Give it to her." And he's like, "No, I don't want to give it to her. I really like it." And he kept hearing the voice, "Give it to her, give it to her." He's like, "No, I want to hold on to it. I really like my cape." And the voice kept saying, "Give it to her, give it to her." And so he had, that duality going on. And finally he went, "Okay." And as he got out of the car, he gave her the cape. And he said he walked out into the field and fell to his knees and felt this incredible sense of freedom and light and oneness with all of life. But he had to be willing to give up something in order to get there. And he had to be willing to give up an attachment to this cape, which he said he really did like. And he had this incredible experience. And he spent some time, he actually ended up staying with us for the week that he was in town. And he was an incredible storyteller. But what was most incredible about him is that he just, his last name really suits him, Golden, because he just illuminated this golden light all around, because his faith was so steeped in the divine. And that's all he was willing to accept, was divine light and nothing else. That's a mystic for you. That's a mystic. So fear is the negative use of faith. It's misplaced faith. It's faith in lack. It's faith in sickness. It's faith in poverty. It's faith that there aren't enough good people in the world. So can you release that faith? Can you release that old structure, and can you place your faith in the absolute? Because when we build this new healthy structure for ourselves that it is based on truth, we make a decision. We make a conscious declaration to live in love and light and harmony, no matter what. And then, and only then, will we stop arguing for our limitations. And we can release the discord in our life. Because how many of us argue for our limitations? Yeah. Rhetorical question. You don't have to raise your hand. You know, James Mellon in his talk last week talked about how he will argue anyone that he is God. He said, can you argue? Can you be a really, really powerful person that argues for what you do stand for? And I went, that's a really good point, because we're so good at arguing for our limitations. But are we really willing to argue for what we have faith in, what we're willing to place our faith in, and what we stand for in life, no matter what? And so think about that. What are you willing to argue for in yourself? Expect more and command more and argue for your brilliance and your light and your capabilities, not for that old structure. When I was in grade 2, I was put into a remedial reading class, and I felt really ashamed and stupid. And I really actually had a belief that I was not smart, that I was actually stupid. And Patrick's going, what? I did. I felt like I was the weird one in school because I wasn't smart enough and I wasn't good enough. And because of the truth, because of that experience, I interpret that as truth for me for a very long time. What have you taken on? What erroneous belief have you taken on based on somebody else's perception, some other structure or collective consciousness out there, or some experience that you had, and you made that your own, and it's not serving you? Because once I got clear, it's like, that is so not true about me. So not true. It's not, and it can't be true. And here's why it can't be true. Because spirit is intelligent. Spirit is love. Spirit is health. Spirit is prosperity. Spirit is potentiality. So it's not true for me, and it's not true for you either. And when we can get so clear that all those beliefs out there are false, and we don't have to buy into them anymore, and we can come back to really knowing and embodying the absolute truth with a capital T. Then we'll create that new, healthy, loving structure for us. We'll release ourselves of that discord and that disharmony. And it takes work to do that. You know, we have to keep coming back to it. There's a great little book. There are a number of little books that we don't have in our bookstore yet, but we're going to get them in. And there are all kinds of them from written by Emma Curtis Hopkins, Emmett Fox, a few other people. And there's one by Emmett Fox called The 7-Day Mental Diet. And it is where you have to keep coming back to the absolute truth again and again and again for 7 days. And if you blow it, you have to start all over again. You have to start all over. But it's such a great little book because it really gets me focused on coming back to truth. Ernest Holmes says, when we use our creative imagination in strong faith, it will create for us out of the one substance, and we become the co-creators of our life. There will never be an end to any of the eternal verities like truth, love, and beauty. There will never be an end to God. If we are wise, we shall cultivate a faith in these realities. This is not a difficult task, but a thrilling experience. I love that. A thrilling experience. So let's build this new structure of harmony, of truth, of love, of beauty, of peace, of joy, of abundance. And let's place our faith in that new structure, which creates the new beliefs, the new ways of thinking, the new ways of feeling, and the new way of being. And annihilate the old structure. Let's annihilate it. Let's release all discord within ourselves. And when we can do that, there won't be discord with anyone else either. There won't need to be. So, on that note, I say thank you for listening. And open your hearts to your possibilities, to your light, to your love, to your beauty, and your truth. And namaste. And we are going to sing I Am So Blessed for our offering today. And I invite you to stand up. And if you have your little card, I choose to step up. If you're on the automatic program of tithing to the center, then you can put your card in the basket. And either your card or your envelope or your cash or your check, please place it in your hands. Place it in your hands, and while we're waiting for the band to get set up, to affirm and to say, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am light. I am love. I am God. I am infinite. I am infinite. And I bless this moment in gratitude. In gratitude. All right, we're going to sing I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful, grateful, grateful. I'm so blessed. are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We're so grateful, grateful, grateful. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We're so grateful, 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 grateful. We are so blessed.
I am so grateful, Pierre. Thank you. You are awesome.
Church or something.
So I'm going to invite Judy. Come on up here. Come on up to give the blessing over the offering.
Oh, we are so blessed. And in this blessing that we recognize, I recognize the oneness of the divine and the oneness that we are. We are one with the divine. We are expressions of divine love, divine abundance. And I'm grateful for the blessings, the generous gifts, the offerings in these baskets now that allow this center to expand, to create, and to bless each of us and to bless beyond our walls. And in this gratitude, I let go, I let it be so, and together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Judy. Have a seat. We are going to sing a love song.
Yes.
So hold all that love in your heart. Breathe it in.
Want to sing a love song. The world can sing along. I want to sing a love song. The world sing along. I love you. I do. It's true.
It is so true. It is so true that there is only love. This one divine, powerful source and substance of all of life. The spark back of all life is this incredible light that is love and beauty and truth and wisdom and grace and prosperity. It is everything that ever was, that is in this moment, that ever will be. And this energy is within each one of us. It is our truth. So let us all sing a love song to ourselves and out into the world and spread this love. For it is love that heals. It is love that creates incredible miracles. It's love that reveals the truth in all times. And so from this place of understanding, from this place of openness, open-heartedness, from this place of clarity, that there need not be any discord in our lives, that in each moment we have the power, we have free will choice to choose love and harmony and grace. And this is why we come together on a Sunday, is to remember this, to embody this, and to take it out into the world and to live it, to be it, and be that incredible shining example of what is truly possible in our lives. For this knowing, I am grateful for this community that has come together today, that is online, that is beyond these walls. I say thank you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your beautiful spirit. And today I would also like to thank our board members, Jim and Tony, Lori for setting up, Susan for greeting, Mark for being in the bookstore, Carrie for being on sound, Ram for being on the camera, and for Sonia for her meditation today, and Judy for your beautiful words of wisdom today. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you to our incredible Queen Street Band for your beautiful music. Thank you. And your energy and your soul. And thank you to Reverend Jonathan Zenz, our beautiful leader, who will be back next week, all tanned and relaxed. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure, my pleasure. And thank you, God. Thank you to this divine spirit that is everywhere present. I release my word. I know all is well. All is in divine order. All is in harmony. So I let go, let God, and let that beautiful, beautiful light flow. And together we say, and so it is.
If everybody sang a love song, if everybody sang a love song, what could it do? It would wash away the hate, let in a little faith, and maybe shift a fearful point of view. Oh, I wanna sing a love song. The world can sing along.
And our final song is Lean on Me, and I invite you to all stand up. Have a wonderful Sunday. Stay warm, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share your load. If you just call me, just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all